What's up, everybody? Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2020, and this is Rick at Bear Forex. This is my midweek update for my USD-based portfolio Forex trading account at Awanda. Today we're looking at an update from Friday, or you guys probably seen it on Saturday, which reminds me, before I get started, I guess one of the very limited viewers, went to my website, bearforex.com, and sent me a message and asked if it was possible if I could post Friday's analysis before market open. That had always been my intention, but I was behind when trying to launch everything. But yes, I will, on Fridays, try to have this uploaded and posted before 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Really, I try to have it up by 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. -8 GMT, right now -7 GMT. So that way people can have a better analysis to see what's happening over the weekend. So yes, I will do that. I will do that on Friday. And with that, we're going to start this as we go over what happened from Friday to now. And turning on my screen. And we should be live in 3, 2, 1. Live. Okay. Live check. Okay. So we're looking at the Aussie dollar. And if you guys remember, I was up about 32 pips on Friday. Price has moved up some. I moved my stop now is at 77.66. And you can see now that it's blue. And if you remember, blue means secured but not banked. And now what I see here is to me, it looks like it's starting to turn. I haven't talked about it yet in any of my videos, but this is what I believe is called a wave. You start to see it. I mean, you can almost see it's like coming to an arc, kind of like when you throw a ball up, and then it's probably going to start coming down again. Now, I would maybe close this, and some of my colleagues have already closed this, but they were in at a different time than me. But I'm not going to close it. I'm going to leave it open at least till Friday. We'll see what happens Friday. I'll make a decision then on whether or not I'm going to keep this trade open. Like I said, I moved it to 71.9. I'm sorry, no, I moved it to 70.766 to secure 81 pips. That way my trade is paid for in terms of the interest that I pay each day, swap, and it also covers what's eventually going to be my exit commission and my exit spread. So as long as I don't lose any money on it, I'm fine. And every day I calculate to make sure that that's a fact. Remember, everyone, this is a business, so you got to have your numbers. Now you can see right here, price spiked down to right around the same level as the previous week, and that's actually where I put my stop. I would say that this area here has now become a new resistance area. A new support area, sorry. But the new resistance area is still this. This resistance area is still the same, right around here. Of course, I want to see a breakout to the north. Now that's going to mean the U.S. dollar is getting weaker, but I don't care. I don't care if the U.S. dollar is weaker or stronger. I care about making money. So as of right now, I'm going to hold this trade at 81 pips secured, none banked, until Friday. I'd like to see some more movement. We'll see what happens. So now we're going to move on to Euro USD. And in the last video, I actually closed the trade, banking 344 points. You can see this week price has actually moved to the upside. On the weekly charts, I have not taken advantage of that. On my daily and 4-hour charts, that's a different story. There's some trades in there because this is a nice move from last week to this week. If you can see, that's 92. There's going to be some wins in there somewhere. Excuse me. But if you see where the high is, it tapped the same level as last week. Now, I'm not confident that it's going to last another week. Not on the technically, I don't think so. And if next week the level hits in the same area again, that would be a closing scenario for me anyway. So I took the 344 last week. I'm not upset that the market moved 90 pips in the direction I was in. You can't be. You have to understand you're never going to get all of it. Your job as a retail end trader, which is what, if you're watching this and you're listening to my stupid ass, then I know you don't know what the hell you're doing. But I know what I'm doing as far as retail. And in retail, we can't catch tops and bottoms. We don't never get that kind of information to know when the market's going to turn. All we can do is grab chunks in the middle. And in this case, that's what happened. We grabbed a chunk in the middle. Or I grabbed a chunk in the middle. I don't know what you did. But I grabbed a chunk in the middle. On the weekly. Okay? So, moving on now. Nothing's happening here. Probably not going to be so on Friday. Probably not even next week. We'll see what happens. But I very much doubt it. So now we're going to move on to the pound dollar. And if you remember on Friday's video, which was on Saturday, I know, but they'll be on Fridays from now on, I had just opened this trade. And if you remember, I said that it was high risk, and I don't even really know why I did it. And I thought about it all week, and I watched it tick away and kind of play around the way it did. And this afternoon, when I was posting the daily updates to my Patreon page to keep things rolling over there, even though nobody's on there, but I'm just going to do it because it's what I said I was going to do. So anyway, where was my thought? Oh yeah, so when I was doing that, I was really taking a look at this, and I can see that it doesn't really look at the way I liked it. I like momentum. I like price to move. That's why I like this chart. I mean this candle, how they move like that. This is indecision in my opinion. See, they wanted to go short. This was people cashing out right here. And this is people trying to buy it up, but it hit the same level again. Which means that 132 is still going to be some heavy resistance. Now this is technically the second week that it's reached this level and was unable to touch that. And mix that with my uneasiness of how I took the trade in the first place, I just decided to close it and bank the 37 and wait for another opportunity on the weekly chart. And the weekly chart, for those of you who don't know me, the weekly chart, I don't think I've said it anywhere. I'll talk about it another time. But this is basically part of my retirement strategy, trading the longer term charts, because it's a lot safer. If you've listened to my first video ever, my introduction video, I trade 3 time frames in 3 separate accounts, all with a Wanda, but 3 separate separately funded accounts. So weekly charts, which is what we're looking at here, daily charts, and 4-hour charts. And each one is for a different purpose. The purpose of this one is to fund my retirement accounts, my actual retirement accounts, IRAs and such. And yeah. So I tend to be a little bit more conservative here. But anybody who's trading weekly charts is a little bit more conservative in the first place. Nobody's trading these charts to make fast money because there's no fast money here. Weekly charts are for working people or people who don't want to take high risk, people who don't like the excitement of daily, which is probably one of my, actually I probably like that one the best, or the 4-hour, but the 4-hour is to keep it interesting for me and for other people who like to trade and that's the lowest I'll go. I won't trade any lower than that. But yeah, so back to the Great British Pound. So this one is not going to go anywhere. It won't be anywhere on Friday. It won't be anywhere next week. I don't think so, unless some crazy news comes out. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see. Every day is crazy with coronavirus and elections and craziness all over the world. You never know. That's why this is a fun market to trade. Any little thing that happens affects the market. Moving on to the NZD USD. Again, if you'll remember, I was disappointed that it did not hit the 6,800, I believe it was, and it just tapped out. Well, if you see here, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. I forgot. I don't want to go look it up. I just remember that it didn't hit the spot where I wanted it to hit, and instead it came super close and didn't hit it. Yeah, I think it was 67, maybe. No, it couldn't have been. Whatever, doesn't matter. The shit didn't work out. It didn't hit the right number, and I ended up just banking the 20 pips. I told you guys by Monday it would tank, and that's exactly what happened. I came in on Monday, and my stop was hit. So I banked the 20 pips. Can't complain. Again, I'm actually waiting for this to go short. I don't think it's going to go any higher, and I think my theory holds up because here's one. The next high was a little lower. The next high was a little lower. And you can see it's starting to turn. So, and this, to me, whenever I see this right here, if this stays like this throughout the week, this is a short signal, in my opinion, or to start looking for shorts. I don't think it's going to pass this. I just don't think so. NZD is not going to be pushing too much harder against the US dollar, even though the dollar's failing right now, but I don't think so. But what the hell do I know? I'm not an analyst. I just come on here, I see what I see, I guess. And then I try to make some money along the way. But as of right now, yeah, I was right. Because it didn't hit my target, it just fell, and that was it. Moving on to the USD CAD, which has done nothing for me lately. Now, I was tempted to take this trade. I was tempted to go short this week on this. I really was. And I was just going to take it and move it to the next, just to grab a quick 50. But man, that's how you get messed up in this market. Plan your trades and trade your plan. If you just jump in to take a trade without following your own rules, it's just stupid. I mean, yes, in this case, I would have made the quick 50 pips, but I had no technical reason or fundamental reason to get into that trade. I just didn't. So I didn't. I stopped myself, which is the hardest part. I stopped myself because that's the right thing to do. And this time it worked. It doesn't always work. That pound trade didn't work for me stopping myself. I just got lucky, and that's what it is. Pure luck that it didn't turn around and start selling off as people cashed in. I got lucky that I was able to grab a few pips on it. Now, moving on to my favorite this month is the USD Swiss, which helped me bank 324 points last week after a 2-month decline in the dollar value versus the Swiss franc. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. Again, all this is dollar weakness. That's pretty much how I made my money the past few months, has been dollar weakness. I don't know how much further that dollar weakness is going to go. My guess is it's probably going to go through the election cycle. And then we'll see what happens. If Biden wins, the dollar will get a little bit better before it gets worse, because he's a hawk on. He doesn't want our. What was it? Damn, I wrote it down and then I lost the paper. Anyway, he's not good for the economy. Put it like that. Most of the time, the Democratic Party isn't, because they like to raise taxes on corporations and all that. I mean, they're really both the same side. of a crooked coin, Democrats and Republicans. I'm not going to get into politics, like I said before. I don't like talking about politics with people I don't know. And that stuff's going to not be around this channel. But what I'm saying is, I think that the dollar weakness is probably going to last until then, and until they decide to shut off the fake corona stuff. Because, I mean, coronavirus itself is probably real, most likely, but they're blowing it way out of proportion, and they're, using it as a tool and fear-mongering, and there's just so much evidence that this is not exactly what it seems. It's definitely not as powerful as they thought it was. Yet people die every day. Look, 1.8 million people died of tuberculosis last year, and nobody wore a mask. So relax, everybody. It's not as bad. Let them do their stupid thing. They have to save face because they got scared for no reason and blew it out of proportion. Just remember, last year 1.8 million people died of tuberculosis around the world. Nobody shut anything down. Nobody was wearing masks. Nobody even said anything. So relax, everybody. It's not a big deal. As far as the USD Swissy goes, I don't think there's going to be a trade for a while. This had a nice spike up, but it happened at the same time as people cashing out. I'm pretty sure this is people cashing out. It's the end of the month and the beginning of the new month. So after a nice fall like this, that's people cashing out and making some money. I don't see this as it's starting to turn around just quite yet. I see this as people cashing out, just like I did when price hit its target. Now, I cashed out over here, but big money and stuff, they do it for, at monthlies, quarterlies, and stuff like that. So that's what I think this spike is right here. And then moving on to the last one we'll cover today, which some years it's my favorite, and some years I just can't stand it. USD JPY, still really not doing much. After last week's spike, it's kind of just hovering around in the middle. It tried to make its way up north, but again, I think this is people cashing out. They probably got in somewhere here or here. But this spike here, this is horrible. I mean, you see these, they're still the same. I don't see this as being tradable soon on the weekly charts. Possibly there might be some moves on the dailies or the 4-hour. And if you'd like to hear what I think, please feel free to visit my Patreon page, and it's only minimum of $5 contribution to me, and as a thank you, I show you what I'm doing on the 4-hour and the daily charts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to shut down this real quick because we're done on the here until next week. All this other stuff, all these pairs here, see all this is all covered on my Patreon. So again, feel free to go visit the Patreon page if you're interested. For more information, you can find me at Patreon at Bear Forex. If you want to ask me a question, you can send me an email at bearforextrading@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at bearforex. So, so all this stuff is covered weekly, daily, and 4-hour, except for there's no 4-hour on Brent crude, S&P 500, West Texas Intermediate, or gold. There's no, I don't do 4-hour. It's not viable to do a 4-hour. This is just daily and weekly over here. So I'm going to cut off the screen here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go ahead and show you guys something from within the Patreon account, just so you could kind of see what it looks like. Let me pull these up here. And what you'll see first here, this is a screenshot of what on the 3rd, August 3rd. Now, on August 3rd is when I started posting inside of Patreon. And all I'm doing is posting what the trades I'm taking on all these on my portfolios. So we're going to follow the Canada versus Japanese yen from open to close. You'll see some other trades here that were already going, like the euro yen, and you'll see the close of the Swiss yen under that under the CAD yen, and you'll see a long on the pound yen. Those were from previous weeks, and I just left them on there because that's what's happening right now. But we're going to follow the CAD Jappy, And you can see here that the position is a long, new at 79.14.6, where my stop loss was at 78.350, and I set a target of 79.800. So that's what I did that day. And if anybody wanted to follow along, they'd have that information right there in front of them, to kind of match up and see what they're doing, right? Like if I'm long and you're short, you may ask why, right? So ask me why. That would be the whole point of the Patreon, is to get that information out to people, and in return I get a small token of gratitude for helping. Now next on this page, we'll see that it still stayed the same. See, there's no change. You'll see date of August 4th, 2020 up there on the top of the screen. This is the next day. Now, the next day, the Cat Jappy was just floating along. It didn't move enough for me to warrant moving my stop to secure any pips. It just kind of was floating under my limit. And I'll talk about my limit in another video when I talk about managing your trades. And I'll just tell you what my limits are depending on what I'm trading. On the bottom there, you'll see that I actually ended up closing those euro yen and pound yen trades. You'll see it says manual, and you'll see the note why. Right now, the egg got cut off, but the pound yen was the same reason. It tested the 139 level, and then the euro yen tested the 125 level 3 times. Spike hit right on that level 3 times in a row. For me, that means I'm just going to close it. Now, it moved up after that, but hey, I don't know that at that time. To me, that's like, oh, they're struggling with that limit. It may go down. I'm just going to close and take the trade, take the cash. So here, though, you'll see that nothing happened. It's still kind of puddling along. And then the next day, which is today, you'll see on the top of the screen, August 5th. And what happened was my long target was actually hit, 79.80. And I banked 65 pips. Now, I know that doesn't seem like much, but that's what the market was showing, and that's what the market was giving. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. And, the target got hit. I knew what my target was, and it was hit. It's only 65, but 65 points for 3 days isn't it's not horrible. At least it's a win, But I knew that going in, that it was going to be a short-lived target. And it got hit. What can you ask? You can't ask for better than that. And with that, I'm heading towards the 23-minute mark, and I'm going to wrap it up for today. Remember, Friday, I will do my best to try and post it before market close, in case anybody wants to match what they're doing against what I'm doing. And if you have questions, feel free to ask me on Twitter at BearForex. Go ahead and hit me up at bearforextrading@gmail.com. And if you're feeling generous, head over to my Patreon at BearForex and see what you can do over there. So with that, there's one thing I just want to say. And again, this is not political, but yesterday there was a massive explosion in Beirut and lots of people were killed. Those people over there are dealing with whatever this corona is. They're dealing with a devastated economy as their currency crashes. And now, not the rhetoric, people say it was an attack, people say it was an accident. None of that matters. What matters is that people got killed in a horrible explosion. Over 3,000 people were injured. Who knows how many have been killed total. They said 80 last night before I went to bed. It's probably a lot more this morning. So I want to give my thoughts and prayers. And I want people, especially here in the States, whoever's listening, stop crying about the little insignificant stuff that you guys think is important. Be glad you live in America. Be glad that you have the rights that we have here. Be glad you have an economy that's the best in the world. We build the best things ever here. This country is not as bad as everybody says it is. People need a reason to complain. Look over there. Go to Afghanistan and see that place. Go see what happens in Lebanon, in Beirut. That is stuff you can complain about. That is something that's horrible, not what's going on here. Yes, we have our problems, but you're not going to solve it by yelling and screaming. So with that, I'm going to tell everybody, relax. I'll see you Friday.